I just recently moved into my dorm and discovered something quite peculiar about my bathroom. If you look through the air vent above the toilet, you see a red room full of ducts and wires, and a styrofoam head. I see no way to actually enter the room. Some nights the room is lit up and I can't see the light source. Image related, I took the best picture that I could with the provided range of vision.
I never liked windows. I cover the ones in my bedroom with black curtains, hoping they never open, not even a crack. Why do I have such a strong fear of them, you ask? Well, it happened when I was younger. When I was 7 years old, innocent and carefree, we moved into a new house. It had 2 stories, a huge yard, and a swimming pool. My room was on the 2nd story, closest to my mom's room. I had my own room for the first time in my life. Something bugged me about the room. There was a huge window right beside my bed, and every time I would go to sleep, I was afraid to through it in fear of someone looking back in at me. One night in particular was really bad. I laid in bed and had the covers over my head, like usual. I had to go to the bathroom so bad, so I stood up and crept towards the bathroom, did my business, and went back to my room. It was really dark besides the moonlight through the huge window. My covers went over my head and I closed my eyes. Tap tap tap. I froze in place. Tap tap tap. I slowly uncovered my right eye to see what it was, which wasn't the best idea. It was hideous. Blue-colored, at least 8 feet tall, fat, teeth and nails/claws like razors. I covered my face back and tried not to scream. Tap tap tap. I screamed. Loud. Mom ran in and grabbed me up. "What's wrong, baby?" she said. "There is something in the window." I looked over. Nothing. "No, there's not, baby. Go back to sleep. It was a nightmare. I promise." Then she walked out. This happened several times in the next few years. I hated that new house and everything about it from that point on. As soon as I moved out, I promised myself I would cover the windows and never look out of them at night. That is why I have a fear of windows. Not paranormal, but has haunted me since. Driving with best friend in a suburban area. Getting high, being low-key in the neighborhood. The area was still being built and some parts were empty cul-de-sacs, a dead-end street shaped like a balloon with homes making the outline of the curve. We drive the length of the cul-de-sac and are aimlessly heading back the way we came. When we reach the cul-de-sac entrance, where the road becomes straight again, a cat is suddenly in the road directly in front of my car. I swerve and stop. We look at the stupid cat and my friend goes, "Dude, we just got kitty cat," or some dumb made up word. I see now that the cat is a cardboard cutout of a crudely drawn cat attached to a piece of wood. My friend gets out and starts making a fuss. "Come on out, effers, let's go." I guess he assumed it was young teenagers pulling a prank. He would never actually fight someone over something so dumb, just trying to look tough. I get out too and light a cigarette and go around the passenger side and kick the cat over. The car was angled left and parked with both passenger and driver doors open. We hang around like that and smoke a cigarette, but no one shows. It was fairly late, so the houses were also lifeless. After a smoke, we kick the cat away and turn towards the car. My friend sits in the passenger seat, we were right next to it, and I go around the back. As I'm heading towards the trunk, I see through the rear windows into the back seat, and a man is laying half on the seats and half where your feet would go. I flip out and scream at my friend, "Someone's in the car." My friend first looks back, then jumps up and out of the car. The guy in the back got up really fast and in a split second jumped out of the car from the rear driver's side door and hauled ass down the street. We got in the car and tried to follow him, but he disappeared among the empty lots. I always check my back seat now, no matter what time or situation.
Work as nurse. Ambulance friend gets call about fat man in house having a heart attack or something. I go with him. Pull up to his house. As soon as I get out, I gag from the smell. Wall of putrid stench hits us, and it's like that episode of SpongeBob where the smell of the ketchup and bean sundae incinerates Patrick's eyebrows. I see what I think is a folded mattress or beanbag chair on the couch. Realize it's a human being. He's naked and has a thin coating of crust on him. Ask if he's alive. Oag bachan la kan Han Solo. Translated from Jabba to English, he said yeah. We try to figure out how to roll him to the ambulance. He won't fit through his own freaking door. We look for and find a sledgehammer and bash the sides of his doorway. It's a cheap OL wooden house. Roll him through, watching the edges. He takes up the entire effing ambulance back seat. He tells me his foot has been hurting him for weeks. I try to find it, then I fiddled with it. Trying to inspect his ankle, I accidentally turn his foot 180 degrees. All my what? Shocked, I pull his foot away with my hand. His foot slides off his bone like a effing sock. All of my medical profession and thisplanet.png.dds.exe.text.gif. I blacked out after I realized I was holding a 30 pounds foot in my hand and his toxic odor hotboxed the vehicle. No reaction image will ever do this story justice.
Here's a story my mom told me a while back. She swears that it's true. This happened a long time ago, while I was too young to remember any of this. It might be a bit long, so bear with me. Grew up in a third world country, grew up almost dirt poor. Taught and became fluent in English while I was yet a kid. Became friends this English speaking kid, let's call him Mike. I think he was half white or something. Mike was from a wealthy family now, at least from my family's poverty-stricken point of view. We went to the same church, and that's where we met. Other kids our age couldn't speak English, so I was his only friend at that time. We hit it off immediately and became buddies. Get to meet him only once a week, but only during church, because the family lived a bit of a ways away and the only time they came close to our place was when they went to church. One day, out of the blue, his family comes by our house dressed up all nice and with food and presents. When asked what the occasion was, they claimed that I told them it was my dad's birthday and that they were invited. Apparently I have been calling and speaking with Mike on the phone almost every night since our meeting. For the past couple nights, I've been talking about my dad's birthday party and told them that they were invited. Apparently I have been calling and speaking with Mike on the phone on almost every day, and for the past couple nights, I've been talking about my dad's birthday party. Here's the problem though, it wasn't my dad's birthday, we didn't have a home phone, we don't have their contact info, and I still don't know how to use a phone. We were close to dirt poor, and landlines back in the day, at least where I'm from, were for the well-off. When my mom explained this to them, they couldn't believe it. They said that whoever they spoke with on the phone sounded and spoke exactly the way I did. But after being told all this, they began to realize that there were some things off about my calls. I only called at night. Which was kind of weird because since there was so much more time to call during the day. They recall hearing weird sounds in the background like dogs barking or howling. We didn't have dogs. And lastly, I gave them the wrong address to my home. They knew our real address, so they didn't go to the address given to them. They stay for the day even though it wasn't my dad's birthday and later leave in the evening. My mom later hears from Mike's mom that the person pretending to be me calls them again later that night. Asks them why they didn't come by. At first they play along, giving excuses why they couldn't go and apologize. He then demands to talk to Mike. They won't let him. They then decide to ask the person questions only I could, or my family could answer. He couldn't. And this makes him frustrated. He gets angry, and still sounding like me, he starts to swear, say a couple of nasty things and then drops the phone. They never hear from him again. My mom, being the superstitious third world mom that she was, had our house blessed after that. I'm not really sure what happened to that family. My mom doesn't either. Oh, and that address, they looked it up later on and found out it was that of a cemetery.
One spring day when I was 8 years old, my dad met me as soon as I got off the school bus. Hey, champ. Wanna play some football? This was unusual because he always worked overtime and was always tired. I told him I wanted to get a snack from mom and then I'd love to play. He moved quickly in front of the door. Hey, your mom's not feeling well. How about I drive you out to McDonald's and get you a Happy Meal? I didn't really want a big meal, so I said no. Since mom got occasional migraines, I decided to stay outside and throw a Nerf football with him. After a short while of throwing, I needed to pee. I wanted to go inside, but Dad told me mom really needed her rest and I was not to go in the house. Instead, he led me to some bushes in our backyard. While we were back there, my neighbor called to Dad from the fence and they began talking. I crept over to the house and looked in through the window into the kitchen. My mom was sitting at the table, wringing her hands and shaking visibly. She was sitting a kid who looked exactly like me, but very pale. She was even feeding him my favorite meal, fish sticks and crinkle-cut fries. I raised my hand to bang on the window when a strong hand caught my wrist and another went over my mouth. My dad pulled me away from the window and off to the side and whispered, "SHHH. It doesn't know you're home."
Tell you what I am most afraid of. Here we go. Be me. Be about a 6 out of 10. Just move into a new neighborhood and have no friends. Be outside mowing the lawn when random dog runs up to me. Look up and a 9 out of 10 is running after it. Help her get dog back, introduce ourselves. Become very good friends. Eventually begin dating. Fast forward about 2 months. New girl moves in. At about a 7 out of 10, would boink. Try to be polite and introduce myself to new girl. New girl and I start to become friends too, even though she seems a little odd. Tell her I have a girlfriend, can see she is, literally, insanely jealous. Fast forward 2 more weeks. Start to see less and less of my girlfriend and at the same time new girl starts to become even more of a psycho bitch. Fast forward 4 days. Get a random Facebook message from my girlfriend saying that 7 out of 10 threatened to kill my girlfriend if she ever talked to me again. WTF.jpg. Fast forward 1 more week. Do not hear or see either girl since that message on Facebook. Start growing very worried. Random knock on my door, it's the cops. Shows me picture of 2 girls asking if I know them. Say yes, getting more worried. Cops tell me that 7 out of 10 committed self-end and remains of my girlfriend showed up in her stomach during the autopsy. TLDR, why was the 6 afraid of the 7? Because 7, 8, 9.
Be me. 7th grade. Walking to school as usual. Decide to take shortcut behind a friend's house. Turn right. Walk 2 blocks. Turn left. Walking. Walking. Where the freak is the main road? Thinking I should have come to it to take a right 5 minutes ago. Check Razor phone, never forget. 8:50 a.m. I leave home at 7:20 a.m. It's a 20 to 30 min walk to school. Where the freak am I intensifies. Panicking. Turn around and start backtracking. Inexplicably crying. Why am I crying? I'm just late to school. Emotion riding so high for some reason. Come to the main road I was trying to get to. One problem. I am on the opposite side from where I was walking from. Had I took my normal route I'd have taken a right and stayed on the same side of the street. I am now on the opposite side of the street and in an area as if I had taken a left. Call Dad. Effing hysterical at this point. He comes and finds me. I calm down when I see him. He's the first person I've seen all day. Wait. I haven't seen anyone during the entire hour and a half I was walking. Didn't even feel like hour and a half. I go to school and everything was normal. Dad said to tell everyone I had a doc appointment so I don't get sent to the counselor and called crazy. I still have no clue what effing happened that day. I was thinking eyes for a long time, but it could also be some time warp, wormhole, passage between dimensions, or God knows what else. I know one thing for sure though, and that is there is no way in hell I crossed that road without noticing, because opposite the side I would have come from it's lined with townhouses, so there's no way through to get behind them unless you take a couple more turns to get on the side streets to the neighborhoods.
I don't normally green text, so bear with me. Be around 2 years ago, going through acute depression and the beginnings of psychosis. Lose touch with friends as I base in my despair. Brother, who is a year younger, moves out. Be chilling in his room one night. Spark up bowl while porn is playing in the background. Strumming bass guitar, thinking to myself, I wonder if I could sell my soul for this ability. Vertigo strikes, feel as if being watched. Immediately spring to my feet. White out a bit, lights in my field of vision. Rush downstairs to retrieve a cigarette to soothe my nerves, high has been killed. Stop at the foot of the steps. Look at the top of the stairs. Pinpoint of red light suspended just above the top. Walk to the top of the stairs. At the point of light here within and audibly, we know who you are. Nope. Fast forward several months later. Be me sitting in my room reading over the Bible, Genesis and Old Testament, taking notes out of curiosity. Feel the need for a break, so I head downstairs. In front of corn burning stove because warm and winter. Irrationally look behind me, taking attention from fire behind tempered glass. Ball of white light swaying back and forth behind the framed entryway to stairs. Ball of light disappears after several moments. Glass door to entertainment system swings open forcefully and stops perpendicular to furniture. Glass door a bitch to work with and open. Atop of the entertainment system is house cat, no fuck was given. Ball of light emerges to the side of me in the frame of the window, not sure if inside or out, but suspended. Disappears after several moments. Fucks were given and a tear shed. Yes.jpg. Since then, randomly, I will see wisps of light with the width of a point. I feel more attached to the cat as well. We get each other, and I didn't mention that a Jack Russell Mudd was with me too. He never leaves my side anymore. Spark up bowl while porn is playing in the background. Strumming bass guitar, thinking to myself, I wonder if I could sell my soul for this ability. Fucking LOL, you are exactly what they are looking for. Yeah, totally. I were a part of a circle of friends who used to openly mock established religions. One would go out of his way to date Christians to get them to convert to atheism or Anton LaVey Satanism. Another who was of Faust bloodline who were exceptionally brilliant, fucking for real. And the last of which who trusted himself above all others, I am enlightened because of my intelligence, type. All of us except for the one of Faust lineage took part in recreational drug use, weed, DMT, etc. Not sure what that means, but I guess I was the weak link in thinking more of the experiences and contemplating spiritual repercussions than they had.
Hi/X/. I've been lurking and commenting and bumping for a long time, but I've never shared anything. My experiences aren't that interesting, but I do want to get it off my chest. I grew up in a haunted house. We moved there just after I was born. Weird shit happening was just the norm. Which is probably why I lurk here. So, be me. 5 to 7 years old. Have my own room. My room was the middle room in the hallway, my parents' room was at the end, my brother's room next to mine on the other end. I slept with my door open, my parents' door was halfway open, brother being older closed his, jerking off and all that. At night you would hear footsteps on the carpeted hallway, faint but with there being no other sound in the house, clear. Footsteps would begin in front of parents' room, walk past my room, stop at my brother's door. Then there would be silence, cold dead absolute silence, for a few minutes before starting all over again. It never walked back, just started at one side, stopped on the other, silence, started back on the other side. Everyone in the house heard this, it was so normal that we'd comment on it the next morning. He was walking again last night. He didn't just walk the hallway, he came into rooms, which as a child is the most terrifying fucking thing ever. Footsteps would enter room, the room would feel electric, hair would stand up, temperature would drop sharply and you would be paralyzed. It would stand there, and you would hear it standing. I don't know how to describe it. It didn't breathe or talk or anything, but you could hear it. My bed was against the wall and I slept with my back to the door. My logic was, I don't want to see it. I know it's there. I feel it, I hear it, but I don't want to see it. Eventually this wore me down mentally. I didn't want to hear it anymore. So I started pressing on my ears. I would place one hand under my pillow and the other over the blanket I had over my face. I pressed so hard that my teeth become malformed in my jaw on the right side, still is to today. I feared nighttime. I would cry when I had to go to bed. I made up excuses, went to the toilet a million times, anything but be in a dark room being forced to sleep. I wasn't the only one who was visited, however. It sat on my brother's bed too many times to recall. It dented in the mattress, sat for a few minutes, got up and left. It lifted my brother's bed up while he was on it. It held my mother down in her bed one night. Apart from walking around and fucking with us, it just made noise, so much noise. Cupboards open and closing in the kitchen, plates and cups moving on the kitchen counters, doors opening, doorknobs moving, the usual. Be me. 12 to 14 years old. Got used to it, used to make fun of it by now. Friend comes for a sleepover. His dad came and dropped him off. His dad and my dad are standing outside talking. Mother is washing dishes and talking to me and friend in the kitchen. Mother laughs and says house is haunted. Friend laughs, thinks it's a joke. Mother laughs and says nope. Suddenly the dishwashing liquid bottle flies off the kitchen counter. No one is near it. Friend turns white, nopes the fuck out of the house without saying a word. Tries to tell his dad, but he isn't making sense. Ended up just crashing at his place because he refused to come into the house again. Older sister came to visit, slept in my room, woke up and saw the shadow of a man sitting next to me on the bed looking at her all night. Older brother came to visit, mom told him house is haunted. He said he didn't believe in stupid shit. He went to take a bath and the tap opened itself. Needless to say, he slept with the light on throughout his entire visit. Everyone who visited us could write their own Greentext on that house. The hauntings came in waves. It would be quiet for months and then all hell would break loose. I started having vivid dreams about it. In my dreams it looked like my father, but with dead, cold eyes. My dad was still alive, so it wasn't him. In my dreams I would look down the dark hallway from the living room and see my dad's face come out of the darkness. Or peer around corners with his expressionless face. What I didn't know at the time was that my father was cheating on my mother. He was verbally abusive, but never in front of us. He treated my mother like shit and they didn't love each other. Perhaps I just picked up on the vibes and was projecting it into my dreams. Seeing my dad's doppelganger watch me from the darkness still makes me feel extremely uncomfortable.